We're following the impact of COVID-19 on the Chickasaw Nation. I'm Brad Clunch.
And I'm Quinn Tran. The numbers continue to escalate on positive COVID-19 cases and the need for hospital care.
Well, we've got a very serious situation in the sense that, we are basically at at the capacity point for our ICUs in our region. Our hospital staff is hanging in there, but they're also at times getting ill. And so that's affecting some of our abilities to deliver our services in the way we usually would. We're trying to keep those critical services like our ED or ICU, labor and delivery, and our hospital team going. But it is probably going to affect over time our ability to deliver those chronic care services that we have because we're having to take staff from there to help out in those other areas where we need them more. We're seeing the highest levels we've ever seen in Oklahoma to date this week. And I think that's only going to get worse, unfortunately. And really, the only thing that's going to stop that is changes in our behavior as people. We're social beings. We like to be around others, but right now is not the time to be doing that. And we should really limit our contact right now to only our close family members that we see on a day-to-day basis. And that's it. Really, no one else. That means you got to stay home from a lot of events that you would love to attend. It's got to mean we have to be very careful or just do online shopping or go at times when the store isn't full. It also means we should not be in institutions that aren't masking and aren't practicing social distancing. We just need to avoid that at present. Eating out is problematic because we have to take off our masks to eat. I would prefer people take takeout if they can. So while all of those are things that we need to do, I am very encouraged because we do have vaccine coming online very soon. That's our hope, but we got to get through this surge that we're having, and it's a big surge.
Dr. Kruger says the Chickasaw Nation's COVID-19 testing centers will continue to serve citizens and the community. Those centers are open Monday through Friday, except for holidays.
The drive-through testing centers also offer the flu vaccine. The vaccine is highly recommended for everyone ages 6 months and older.
The flu shot has so many benefits that a person can gain. It helps us to prevent flu. It helps us prevent having to make trips to the doctor's office. It prevents, having a severe illness and hospitalizations. And ultimately, the flu shot can prevent death in many, many different populations. It takes no time at all. It's very quick. You can go through the drive-through at the medical center, get your flu shot, and be on your way very quickly. The things that you need to prepare for are making sure that you still perform those things that prevent flu infection. Not being around people that are sick, staying home if you have symptoms, washing your hands, don't touch your face, don't, with your eyes, your nose, and your mouth. Be sure to, clean all the high-touch surfaces when flu season is high and when it's low as well. I think really the mask wearing is probably the number one most effective prevention measure that we can take currently, along with all of the other prevention methods. Obviously, vaccination is very, very important, and it's truly the pinnacle of prevention. But in addition to that, it's masking, it's hand hygiene. That's what healthcare workers do when they're taking care of someone that has a flu infection. And so it makes sense that we would take that same type of preventive measure and use it in the community as well. It doesn't give us license to go out if we're sick or to go see someone if they're sick, but it does add a layer of protection to keep us all healthy and to prevent hospitalizations and ultimately, prevent unnecessary death.
The Chickasaw Nation Department of Health is offering the flu vaccine at no charge to the public. For locations, hours, and the holiday schedule, visit the web address on your screen.
Our Chickasaw veterans have done and continue to do so much for us.
In other news, Governor Bill Anatubby led a virtual ribbon-cutting ceremony for the Chickasaw Honor Guard building. Some members of the Honor Guard cut the ribbon to mark the opening of the new structure. It is more than 1,800 square feet, designed to complement the nearby Chickasaw Nation Veterans Lodge. The building offers a dedicated place for members of the Honor Guard, house their equipment, and support their work.
We are proud of our Honor Guard and grateful to them and to all of our veterans for their service. The new Chickasaw Honor Guard building is yet another way for the Chickasaw Nation to demonstrate that appreciation.
A group of Chickasaw veterans established the Honor Guard in 1993. They conduct military honors at funerals and memorial services and participate in tribal events.
This is another virtual event. The Southeastern Art Show and Market, known as CSAM, will remain online through the month of December. See the beautiful work of Chickasaws and other Southeastern and woodland artists. More than 100 artists, adults, and youth have pieces featured. The works of art may be purchased online. Visitors to the virtual market help decide the winner of the 2020 People's Choice Award. In the coming weeks, we'll meet the Chickasaw artist who earned that recognition. A few days ago, you may have watched the SpaceX shuttle launch of NASA astronauts. The crew of 4 is now at the International Space Station.
2 other American astronauts were part of a launch back in the summer. Recently, we connected with Commander John Harrington, a Chickasaw citizen. The retired astronaut reflects on his time in space, a time that made history.
Well, back when I was growing up, that's what was on TV was, people flying in space. And I think the generation that I came from was motivated by those folks that were going to the moon. And I can imagine now, first time, someone for the first time seeing an American astronauts, flying off American soil on a commercial vehicle, it has to be just as exciting, I think. SpaceX, be able to take American astronauts to space off of American soil, it's a lot of fun. It's always fun. It's intriguing, and it's exciting to watch humans fly in space.
You were born in Wetumpka, Oklahoma. When did the fascination of flight come to be for you?
Well, my dad was a pilot, and we used to fly. He learned to fly in Colorado Springs, Colorado. We moved very early out of Oklahoma. I think my folks lived in Tulsa. We lived in Norman. Moved to Colorado Springs. My dad was actually learned to fly in Colorado, so we would fly in a little Cherokee 160, I think. We would fly back from Colorado to Oklahoma. We actually land at the little grass strip over in Wetumpka. Flying just kind of, to me, natural as a kid growing up. I used to lay in a Chase lounge beneath a hummingbird feeder with a red blanket over me to get as close as I could to the hummingbirds to watch, see how they would fly. And they still fascinate me. I have a couple hummingbird feeders here. The idea of being an astronaut was certainly from the 1960s, sitting in a cardboard box and dreaming I was an Apollo astronaut. Those were dreams, but I never really connected it to reality until much later in my life. When I was in the Navy as a Navy test pilot, that I realized that, hey, I'm doing the same thing those guys did back in the 1960s that I watched on TV. So to me, it was a natural extension. If you don't apply, you won't be an astronaut. And if you do apply, there's a chance. And I applied a couple times and very fortunate to be selected on my second application.
What does it take to be an astronaut, Commander?
A lot of perseverance. It takes people. It takes people in your life to come along and to help make a difference in your life. And I'm very fortunate that I had people that came along. When I had struggles in college, I didn't study very hard. Matter of fact, the first year I got kicked out of school. It wasn't that I wasn't intelligent, I wasn't motivated and was kicked out. But I went to work in the mountains as a surveyor on a survey crew as a rock climber. And I used to hang off of cliffs on a highway in Colorado watching guys use math in practice every day. And first time I'd seen math out of a textbook and how people utilized it. And it was fun. And like I said, a guy came along I worked for and encouraged me to go back to school and not accept making, the lowest amount of money on the crew. He said, go back to school, be the engineer, be the one responsible for everything. And I listened. That was the key.
And you became the first Native American to go to space and walk in space. Did you know how monumental that would be?
Nope, I did not. From there, I just had this opportunity to share how I became an astronaut with a group of folks that had never had somebody as a role model in that position. It's not something I expected, but it's something I've certainly taken on as a responsibility that I think we all have. I think we all have a responsibility that when you do something that other people can look up to and see themselves in you, I think it's your responsibility to do the very best you can to make a difference for those people.
Who inspired you? Did you have a lot of Chickasaw influences or Native American Indian influences growing up?
My mom's the Chickasaw side of my family. And, she always made sure that we were identified. The U.S. government identifies Indians, right? It's, a certificate degree of Indian blood card. And this idea that, we have a degree of Indian blood in us. And the Chickasaw registration, Chickasaw citizenship is based on descendancy from what's called the Dawes Rolls. And so my great-grandmother, Bina Underwood, a full-blood Chickasaw, my mom was always very, very strong in promoting, making sure we knew who we were or where we came from. Fortunately, I did not learn language. I did not grow up in an environment where it was constantly around me. But I always, I think who you are in some way just extends to the things you do. And so I'd like to think my ancestors be proud of the fact that, I identify with my Chickasaw heritage and that I am, that I do what I can to support what the tribe believes in and where we come from. Because, I think my grandpa was born 1908 roughly. So just slightly after we first flew airplanes, his grandson flew in space, within 100 years. And so that's just, to me, it still is a remarkable achievement. When we think about what our ancestors would wonder about what we would be up to in the future.
What a fascinating experience. Commander Harrington told me that on his flight to space, he took 3 items, a Chickasaw flag, a bald eagle feather, and a Native American flute. That flute was made by a Native American Indian friend who was an engineer there at the Kennedy Space Center.
Those items are treasured. Commander Harrington presented the flag to Governor Anatubby and the Chickasaw Nation. The feather and flute are both in the Smithsonian's National Museum of the American Indian. This year, the Museum of Native American History featured the Chickasaw astronaut in a special exhibit. We've enjoyed our time with you here on CNTV.
Thanks so much for being with us. We'll see you back here soon.